Hare Krishna. Can you hear my voice? Am I audible? Okay, let's start. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So thank you all very much for joining today's session. We have been discussing from the third chapter of the fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The chapter is titled as The Lord Appears Before King Nabi. So Nabi, as we saw, is the son of is the eldest son of Agnidra. And what happens in his life, we have been seeing. So Nabi also desired a son. But unlike his father Agnidra, who went to the forest to worship Lord Brahma, he actually worshipped the Supreme Lord along with his wife Meru Devi, who had not yet produced a progeny. So, while Nabi was performing his prescribed duties, out of great affection for his devotee, in order to fulfill the desire of his devotee, the Lord showed King Nabi his attractive, pleasing form. So, which means he manifested. And why did he appear? It is very clearly mentioned that Shraddhaya Vishuddha Bhavena Yoga Upapatya. So he showed himself because of Nabi's performance of Bhakti Yoga, along with all proper ingredients, place, time, mantras, priests, charity, and rules. But he properly performed Bhakti Yoga, along with externally whatever was needed, okay, for performing the yagyas, but he primarily performed Bhakti Yoga, it is mentioned. The priests, the assembly and King Nabi, like poor persons who have obtained a great treasure, they began worshipping the Supreme Lord with great reverence. And the beautiful form of the Lord is described here. So, and then the priest started offering prayers. So yesterday we saw some of the prayers offered by the priests. And then I think before this, we did have a discussion about how Nabi did not have a son and he was a practitioner of pure devotional service. He might have as well, uh, enthroned some other person in his kingdom as the king, some other qualified person as the king, and he could have continued to practice devotional service properly. That was possible. But the point is that when you are talking about qualification for ruling a full Varsha, this is a huge qualification, and ordinary people definitely would not be qualified like that. This needs a very strong receptacle in the form of the wife and a very strong source in the form of the husband. So yesterday we saw the example of the milk and the curd. So if you want consistent curd, then you have to have proper culture and proper milk. You change the milk or you change the culture, you won't get the same curd. So in this context, we were discussing yesterday that yes, Prabhupada did say that Varna is based on Guna and Karma and not based on birth. But having said that, birth also is a very, very critical aspect, because birth is not random. Birth is not random. Birth is also due to Guna and Karma. Birth is also due to Guna and Karma. So therefore, when a person takes birth in a particular family, it is because of his own qualifications, which were compatible with the qualification of the father and mother. It is not random. Okay. So therefore, it was not possible. It would be highly improbable that someone uh, from the ordinary from his ordinary prajas would have such high qualification, because here we are talking about you know someone who is coming in the lineage of Swayambhuva Manu, no ordinary people. Okay, of course, in today's day and age, this this argument is a very dicey argument, because practically it's more or less a level field. You know, no one is, the difference between the the highest and the lowest is not as great as it was in during those days. Nowadays, most people are born without any kind of serious samskaras. Okay, so it is more or less a level field. Uh, I mean, of course, there will be differences, but it is a fairly, reasonably level field. It's not like serious, differences in terms of the qualifications. Mm. So no one is definitely as highly qualified as the ability to read to rule a complete Varsha, you know, Ajanaba Varsha or Bharata Varsha. I mean, no one has that kind of qualification. Yeah. No one even has, what to speak of ruling. No one even has the qualification to travel across Bharata Varsha. What to speak of ruling? Ruling is later. Traveling itself is not possible. Access itself is not there. The other parts of Bharatavarsha, how are you even going to travel? It is possible, but not for ordinary human beings like us. So here we are talking about, if you call them as human beings, then if you call them as human beings, like someone like Nabi or Agnidra or Priyavrat Maharaj, then we are something like mosquitoes, even though we may say that, we all fall within the category of human beings. But considering their powers, they were no ordinary people. And a lot of that came in the lineage. So birth is not random. So that's the point that we were discussing. So, and in this context, we also discussed the samskaras, how the samskaras actually, by birth, you get a portion of that qualification, and that qualification further has to be nourished through the samskaras and other association, appropriate association and training. Birth, samskaras, association, training, these four are very critical in order to mold a personality in a particular direction. These four are very important: birth, samskaras, association, and training. Only then, you know a particular varna can be maintained. The purity of a varna can be maintained only if all these four are there. That is when Prabhupada says birth, varna is determined not by birth but by guna and karma, because all these four things, birth, samskaras, training, and association, they actually nourish the guna and karma. They inspire one and equip one to perform particular karma, and they also nourish the appropriate gunas. So therefore, when Prabhupada says, Varna is not due to birth, which means birth is just one of the four factors. Birth is just one of the four factors. Anyways, so coming back to the prayers offered by the priests, we saw yesterday, they said, "O Lord, since we are your followers, you should accept our offering of repeated respects. We are anupatanam. We follow your path." Okay. So because we follow your path, we follow your instructions, therefore, uh, you should accept our repeated respects. And we don't just follow your path, but we follow your path by following the instructions of the great devotees. Sadupasikshitam. So what we are doing now, showing our respects to you and following the path, it is all by the guidance of great devotees. It is not whimsical. So that is another reason uh, why you should accept our respects. And then they say, actually, incapable men whose mind is affected by the gunas of Prakriti cannot describe your form. They cannot describe your form because your form is beyond matter. Uh, but even though they cannot describe your form, but whatever endeavor they make to very incompletely, improperly describe your form, that endeavor purifies them. Okay. That endeavor purifies them. Okay. It destroys all the sins of the people who are endeavoring. So in this context, we were discussing why the Lord likes to hear his own glorification. So in this context, we saw that, you know, to accept the glorification, only very low people would be eager to accept the glorification of someone who does not know them properly. Okay. And when it comes to the Supreme Lord, no one knows him properly, including the devotees. It is only an incomplete understanding. So for the Lord to accept such glorification is an insult. But he accepts them only out of compassion, because if he accepts that glorification, then the jiva takes one step closer to emancipation. The jiva takes one step closer to attaining his lotus feet. Manam janada vidusho karuno vrinite yadyad jano bhagavato vidadita manam tatchatmani pratimukasya yatamukashri. Okay. So uh, that is the point. And another thing we saw yesterday was that about using material analogies or material examples to glorify the Supreme Lord. Uh, Even though matter is different from spirit and no aspect of matter exactly represents the spirit, so therefore, can we use material examples and analogies and upamas, similes to glorify the absolute truth? The answer is the simple answer may be no, because it is inappropriate. But then we saw from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's explanation, he says that unlike common perception, matter is not completely different from spirit. Okay. Like if you ask uh, the Mayavadis, what is the opposite of white color? Okay. What is the opposite of white color? What will they say? Uh, What is the opposite of white color? Now I am asking you, what is the opposite of white color? Okay. Someone says black. Someone else says black. Okay. Someone else says black, 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 black. Okay. Now they will say, no, 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 no. White color, the opposite of white color is colorless. Because between white color and black color, there is some similarity in the form of color. Color is similar. White is also a color. Black is also a color. So therefore, they will say the opposite of white color is colorless. The opposite of black color is colorless. The opposite of blue color is colorless. Okay. So that is the exact opposite. There is nothing common. There is not even color which is common. Okay. But if you see, the Vaishnavas will say, no, 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 no. The opposite of black color is not colorless, it is white color. But they'll say, no, 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 but color is common. And the Vaishnavas say, yes, color is common. Who said there is nothing common between spirit and matter? There are similarities. Okay, there are similarities. There are serious differences, but there are definitely some similarities. You cannot deny the similarities. You cannot say that spirit has nothing in common with matter. Okay, so that is why, so therefore, you take various aspects of this material world which have similarity with spirit in some aspect. Okay, and then you take those things and you reconstruct a reasonable understanding of spiritual reality. We saw the example of using uh, a bottle of phenyl and a piece of peda, uh, uh, you know, and a piece of peda to explain someone what could milk be like. Okay, milk looks like phenyl. It is watery like phenyl. It is white like phenyl, but it smells like peda and tastes somewhat like peda. So if you take the smell and taste of peda and the appearance of phenyl, it would be a reasonable explanation of what milk is. So similarly, you know, different materials, different objects of this material world, they somewhat represent some aspect of spiritual reality. So you take that material as an example to represent that one particular quality of spirit. We saw this as Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains this as the Arundhati Darshana Nyaya. So Arundhati Darshana Nyaya, when you want to show the Arundhati Nakshatra is not so visible. But you show the Vasishta Nakshatra, which is the Arundhati Nakshatra is always next to the Vasishta Nakshatra. So, and Vasishta is very big, very easily visible. So if you can spot the Vasishta Nakshatra, then you can tell that, right next to it is the Arundhati Nakshatra, even though you may not be able to see it, but it is there, just assume. Okay. So, therefore, the Shastras oftentimes use material analogies to describe spiritual reality. Okay, material analogies to describe spiritual reality. Even though it may not be perfect, but the principle is blind uncle is better than no uncle. Rather than not knowing uh, any spiritual reality, it is okay to know the spiritual reality little incompletely. That incomplete understanding of spiritual reality will also generate appreciation. And when there is appreciation of spiritual reality, there is purification. And when there is purification of the heart, there is more complete appreciation of the spiritual reality. When there is more complete appreciation of the spiritual reality, there is more purification of the heart. And when there is more purification of the heart, there is more complete appreciation of the absolute reality. So in this way, these kind of material analogies, uh, uh, definitely help build a bridge for a layman or for an aspiring spiritualist to appreciate, even though incompletely, improperly, the absolute truth, but that incomplete, improper absolute appreciation of the absolute truth also causes purification because of the sincerity of the endeavor and the mercy of the Lord. Okay. So, and by that purification, one becomes more qualified to more completely appreciate the transcendental reality. So, therefore, in this context, we were discussing yesterday that unlike what the Mayavadis say, that the spirit has nothing in common with matter, Therefore, the absolute reality is anirvachaniya. It cannot be described by words. Okay. We don't accept it. We say that no, 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 it is not like that. Okay. So this is another thing that we discussed yesterday. So, and then then they continued. My dear Lord, you are satisfied by worship using prayers uttered with choked voice, composed by your devotees with attachment, and using water, tulsi, buds, durva, grass, and buds. So they say that you are, what can satisfy you? So what can satisfy the Supreme Lord? He is satisfied by worship. What kind of worship? Worship which is prayerful. Okay. Worship, uh, okay, which is prayerful. And prayers which are uttered by with emotion, which is indicated by choked voice. But worship is not sufficient. Prayers is not sufficient. Emotions is not sufficient. But because prayers may be improper, emotions may be material. So most important thing is the prayer should be composed by your devotees. And that is also not sufficient. The devotees should have attachment. Okay. So when prayers composed by devotees who have great attachment to the Supreme Lord are offered by ordinary devotees with emotions and worship, then it is very pleasing the Supreme Lord. And apart from that, one should also use um, objects and paraphernalia which are also very dear to the Supreme Lord, like tulsi buds, water, durva grass, like that. Then they say, we see that you do not have any use for our elaborate worship. You are attracted by the devotion. You are not attracted by the external objects or things which may be used, which may be very high quality, but you are not pleased by that. You who directly have a farm composed of unlimited human goals, a farm which continues without a break at all times, should satisfy us who have desire for benedictions. So then they say, my dear Lord, you are Ichchapidanam. You can potentially fulfill all the desires. So therefore, you should fulfill our desires because we have desire for some benedictions. Like that they say. We are not very pure. We are not Anyabhilashita Shunyam. We have some Abhilashas. You can please fulfill those desires. So in this context, yesterday, we had this discussion that for devotees, Krishna will fulfill the primary desire of giving us Krishna Prema. This is guaranteed, provided we endeavor in the right direction. All the other secondary prayers, which we may have, which may also be, not prayers like Krishna, let me chant purely. Okay. Krishna will fulfill that desire slowly, depending on our endeavor. Krishna, let me get association of good Vaishnavas. Krishna will fulfill. But something which may not which we may perceive that it will eventually be anukul for my bhakti, we may think, but Krishna may not necessarily think. That he may not fulfill. Krishna, let me get a better job. Will Krishna fulfill? Not necessarily. Because you think that uh, uh, by getting a better job, you can do bhakti better. But Krishna does not feel so because Krishna is farsighted. He can see 3 years, 10 years from now, how it's going to pan out. So Krishna may not necessarily fulfill that desire. Krishna, if I get a child, I'll be able to peacefully perform devotional service. Please give me a child. He may give. He may give. but he may not necessarily give, because he will say, look, I understand that your goal is you want to come close to my lotus feet as soon as possible. For that, you feel that if you have a child, it will help you. But I don't feel so. So therefore, this one desire of yours, even though I know it is little bit deep desire, I will choose not to fulfill it, because I feel that maybe it may distract you more from your devotional progress than to help you progress. If Krishna feels like that, he is not obliged to fulfill these desires. Unless we say, Krishna, look, I have, eventually I want to come to you, that may be there, but I want to live a very happy material life in this material world also. That is also my goal. So fulfill it. Then if you clearly define like that, then Krishna will say, fine, then I will fulfill. Then I will fulfill. Okay. But otherwise for devotees, that is why we had discussed the same thing in the context of the various different falashrutis which are given in even Bhagavatam, which may seem like material falashrutis. So we saw that these material falashrutis will not necessarily um, be fulfilled for devotees. Okay. So the only any section of Bhagavatam we study, the only falashruti that we can expect is kintu mukyam phalam ratihi, as Srila Rupa Goswami says. Even though these shastras may give some secondary phalas or fruits from from performing the various limbs or from hearing particular sections of Bhagavatam, but for devotees, the guaranteed fruit is only rati. Others, if Krishna feels it is needed for the devotee's progress, he may give, but there is no guarantee. So I am not telling, please don't get me wrong. If you offer a prayer, it's not that Krishna will not fulfill that prayer. He may very well fulfill, but there is no guarantee. Okay. If Krishna feels it is not favorable for attaining our ultimate goal, then Krishna may not fulfill. So one need not feel discouraged to not offer prayers, but understand that the best prayer to offer is, Krishna, I feel that if I get this job, it will be favorable for my Krishna consciousness. So if you feel the same way, please help me. That is good. Krishna, if I feel that if I get a child, it will help me focus better on Krishna, on my bhakti. Otherwise, it is disturbing me too much internally. So if you also feel that in the long run, it would be it would be in my best interest to beget a child, please give me a child. That would be an appropriate prayer. Rather than, you know, mm, rather than telling to Krishna that, Krishna, I prayed for a child you did not give. You don't, it looks like you don't respond to prayers. So Krishna said, which prayer do you want me to respond to? Okay. Your prayer to attain Krishna Prema very quickly, or your prayer to get a child? Well, both. I said both is not possible, because in your case, if you get a child, it may kind of distract you. It may slow down your progress. I don't feel that is most conducive. Krishna may not necessarily give. This is the point. Not that he won't give. Please don't get me wrong. So this is where we ended our discussion yesterday. So we will try to see how much we can cover, how many more prayers we can cover today. We have about 12 verses in this chapter more. I don't think we have time to complete 12 chapters, 12 verses. But whatever we can complete, we will try to complete today. Okay. So we will take till 8:15 we will cover, and then 8:15 onwards we will take some discussion points. Tadyata balishanam swayam atmanah shreyah param avidusham parama purusha prakarsha karunaya swamahimanam cha apavargakyam upakalpayishyan swayam na apachita eva itaravad iha upalakshitah. Tad, therefore, yata balishanam avidusham shreyah param swayam. Just as a wise person appears before ignorant people, because why we are ignorant? Because we have material desires. And you are wise. Ami vignya ei murka vishaya kena diba, as Krishna says. I am intelligent, he is foolish. Okay. Therefore, just as a wise person appears before an ignorant people, Atmanaha Parama Parama Purusha, you, the person superior to all great persons, Prakarsha Karunaya, out of your costless mercy, Upakalpayishyan, to give Swamahimanam Apavargakyam, liberation in the form of the realization of your glories, Cha, and all other benedictions as well. That is the meaning of Cha. Therefore, just as a wise person appears before ignorant people, you, the person who is superior to all great persons, out of your costless mercy, with a desire to give liberation in the form of realization of your glories and all the other benedictions, iha upalakshitaha, you have appeared here. Swayam na apachita. Even though we did not worship you properly, okay, even though we did not worship you with a heart free of other abhilashas, but still, out of your costless mercy, you have appeared here. Itaravad. Itaravad means like others. You have appeared like a person who is very curious to see the sacrifice. Those people who have not really seen, a particular sacrifice or sacrifice at all, out of curiosity, they may come and with great eagerness, they'll come and say, hey, what's happening here? What's happening here? Like that. You have also come with that kind of a curiosity. Even though there is nothing that is what we are doing is really attractive to you, but purely out of compassion, you're doing it. Purely out of compassion, you're doing it. So the Lord may ask, so if you have material desires and if I am Atmaram, and if whatever you do is not very pleasing to me, okay, then why have I been satisfied and made my appearance before you? The Lord may ask. The priests are telling, just as the person in knowledge appears before those who are ignorant, though he has not been called or worshipped in order to deliver them by his mercy, you also superior to all great persons, out of great costless mercy, to give liberation in the form of realization of your glories, and as well all desired objects have, sorry, just give me a second, have appeared here, not from being worshipped by us, since we do not have proper bhakti. We do not have bhakti. Of course, they do have bhakti, otherwise why would they worship the Supreme Lord? But when they say we do not have bhakti, it means we do not have sufficient bhakti, or we do not have bhakti that is pure. Okay, out of their humility, they are speaking like that. So, you have appeared here like someone who has come out of curiosity to see the sacrifice. Atayam eva varohi arhattama yarhi barhishi rajarsher varadarshabo bhavan nija purushekshana vishaya asit. O most worshipable Lord, that you, the best giver of benedictions, appeared as the object of our vision in the king's sacrifice was our benediction. Okay. They say, even though we have other benedictions to ask, but we do understand that the real benediction of the sacrifice is just in having your darshan. Having your darshan in itself is the greatest benediction. There is no other benediction. So the Lord may say, in any case, ask for a benediction. So they say, O most worshipable Lord, you have become the object of our vision of for your devotees when you appeared in the sacrifice performed by the king. That itself is the greatest benediction. What more benediction can be there? Okay, like that. Asanga Nishita Jnananala Vidhuta Ashesha Malanam Bhavat Swabhavanam Atma Ramanam Muninam Anavarata Parigunita Gunagana Parama Mangalayana Gunagana Katanosi. My God, these prose, long prose, the two prayers are very interesting. So they say, Muninam Anavarata Parigunita Gunagana Katana. This is they are addressing the Supreme Lord as, O Lord, whose qualities are recited repeatedly by the sages. By the sages, Muninam, repeatedly, Anavarata, recited, Parigunita, Gunagana, qualities, Katana. O Lord, whose qualities are recited repeatedly by the sages. Your qualities, which bring about the highest bliss, Parama Mangala Ayana, are the subject of discussion for sages who have burned all contamination. Viduta Ashesha Malanam. How Asanga Nishita Jnana Anala, by the fire of knowledge and detachment, and Atma Ramanam, and who find enjoyment only in you, Bhavat Swabhavanam, through their individual modes of love directed towards you. So they say, your qualities are the subject of discussion of those people who have burned all the contamination by the fire of knowledge and detachment. Of course, knowledge and detachment that comes through bhakti. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitah Janayatyashu Vairagyam Jnanam Jayada Haitukam. So it is not just Jnana and Vairagya by the path of Jnana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga. Okay. So here it refers to uh, by the process of bhakti. So your qualities are the subject of discussion of those sages who have burnt all their contamination by the fire of knowledge and detachment, and Atma Ramanam. So they find enjoyment only in you. And how do they find enjoyment in you? Bhavat Swabhavanam. Through their individual modes of love directed towards you. In either Shanta Dasya Sakya Vatsalya Madhurya Rasas, in one of those rasas. Their love which is directed towards you. Okay, like that. So they say, foolish persons think that they should pray for things other than seeing you, even though seeing you is very rare. But the wise do not think like this. What do the wise think? The wise are uh, completely satisfied in enjoying in your association through their individual moods of love directed towards you. They are completely happy in their relationship with you in one of the five rasas. Okay. So, just give me 1 second. Okay. Though you do not show yourself, you are the subject of talks concerning your qualities, which bring about the highest auspiciousness for the sages who have burned up unlimited contamination of material desires by the fire of knowledge, sharpened by detachment, who completely enjoy you with moods such as dasya directed towards you. O Lord, whose qualities are recited repeatedly by the sages, like that the priests are offering their prayers. Okay. Then, Ata Katanchit Skhalana Kshutpatana Jrumbana Duravasthana Adishu Vivashanam Naha Smaranaya Jwara Marana Dashayamapi Sakala Kashmala Nirasanani Tava Gunakrita Namadeyani Vachana Gocharani Bhavantu. So this is, they are asking for a benediction. Bhavantu, may it happen. May what happen? They say, Ata Katanchit Katanchit Vachana Gocharanani Bhavantu. May we somehow or other chant what? Tava Gunakrita Namadeyani. Your names describing your qualities. Okay. Can you think of some names of the Lord which describes his qualities? Can you let us recollect 10 names of the Lord uh, representing his qualities. Qualities, not actions, qualities. Govinda, yes, one who gives pleasure to the senses. Okay. Karuna Sindhu, yes. Madhusudana is a is through action. Mukunda, Mukunda is also, is it a quality? It is an action, one who gives mukti. Rishikesha, the Lord of the senses. Yeah, you can say. Shama Sundara, it is a quality. Yeah. Dina Bandhu, yes. Achyuta, Bhakta Vatsala. Okay, something is written in Telugu. I can't read Telugu. Gopala, Gopala. Okay, that is an action. Dina Bandhu, yes. Bhakta Vatsala, Keshava. Okay, anyways. So these are all qualities. I'm not going to read all. Okay. So may we somehow or other chant your names describing your qualities. And what is the nature of these? What happens when we chant the names of the Lord? Sakala Kashmala Nirasanani. They destroy all sins. Jwara Marana Dashayam. At the time of death, uh, which destroy all sins at the time of death. Nahas Maranaya. In order to help us remember you, Vivashanam, who are unable to remember you, Skalana, Kshut, Patana, Jrimbana, Duravasthana, Adishu. While stumbling, suffering hunger, falling down, yawning, or suffering calamity, we are not able to remember you. So, chanting your names will aid us, help us remember you. Okay. So, remembering, so from Shravanam and Kirtanam comes Smaranam. That's what they tell you. So Smaranam is not automatically possible. Smaranam is a more difficult limb. So Smaranam is difficult. But that difficult limb of Smaranam can be accomplished by Shravanam and Kirtanam. By Shravanam and Kirtanam. So that is what here they are indicating. Okay. If we continuously chant your holy names, which represent your qualities, then at the time of death, in order to remember you, will be possible. What to speak of death? When even less challenging situations, even in less challenging situations like stumbling, or while we are hungry, while we are falling down, yawning, or suffering calamities which are not as serious as an obstacle as uh, death. Okay. But even at those times, we find it very difficult to remember you. But the means, but how do we overcome that? By we can overcome that uh, by chanting your holy names. By chanting your holy names, it prepares us for remembering you even in the most dangerous situations, including the time of death. So here, the commentary Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti says, even if we have unsteady, dull minds, let us think of you. So that persons like us who cannot remember you may remember you. May your names be available to us. So this is one of the benedictions that they are asking for. Ata katanchit tava gunakrita namadeyani vachana gocharani bhavantu. May somehow or other your holy names be available to us. Okay. Somehow or other may your allow your holy names to be available to us. That is what they are praying. Then they continue. Kinchayam rajarshir apatyakamah prajam bhavadrishim ashasan ishwaram ashisham swargapavargayorapi bhavantam upadavati prajayam artha pratyayo dhanadam iva adanaha falikaranam. So they say, Kincha, however, Ayam Rajarshihi, this great king, Apatyakamaha, desiring a son, Bhavantam Ishwaram Upadavati, he is worshipping you. Ashisham Swarga Apavargayorapi, who can give all benedictions such as Swarga or liberation. Why? Why he is worshipping you, desiring a son? Bhavadrishim Prajam Ashasana. He is desiring to have a son exactly like you. Dhanadam adanaha falikaranam iva. He is like a poor man pursuing a wealthy man for few empty husks. When you are capable of fulfilling all desires, when you are capable of fulfilling all desires, when you can give liberation. But this foolish king is worshipping you to get a child. Yeah, maybe a child like you, but nevertheless, shouldn't he be worshipping you and performing this sacrifice for liberation? And you're capable of giving liberation. Okay. So this is like a poor man who pursues a wealthy man who has charitable intent, charitable disposition. He can give you a lot of wealth, but you go and ask for a handful of empty husks. So therefore, this is not right. However, though it is improper to ask, we ask you because it is necessary. This saintly king, the sponsor of the sacrifice, desires a son. Though he can get a son by worshipping devatas, he worships only you. But I will also, so they say that, yes, look, his good quality is that he could have worshipped the devatas to get that same son, but he is worshipping you. That is very good. The Lord says, yeah, but I will give him Swarga or liberation. Okay. Fearing that the Lord would say this, they say, though you are the Lord of Swarga and liberation, the fulfiller of all desires, he is fixed on begetting a son and not on liberation. Okay. So if someone, so he says that I will give you liberation or Swarga, but they are very clear that the Lord does that he does not want Swarga or liberation. He wants a son. So please give him son. That is his foolishness. Just as a man desiring some husk pursues a wealthy man desiring a son, pursues a wealthy man, Desiring a son, he worships you. See his stubbornness. Like that they are telling. Kova ihate aparajito aparajitaya mayaya anavasita padavya anavarata matir vishaya visha raya anavrita prakritir anupasita mahacharanaha. So they say, aparajitah, you are free of maya. But is there a person who does not worship the great devotees, whose intelligence is not covered by the unconquerable and indescribable maya, and whose nature is not covered by the force of material poison? So, yes, my dear Lord, you are free of maya. You are not influenced by maya. But amongst those people who do not worship your devotees, is there anyone who has overcome the influence of maya? So therefore, it is not easy for people of this world to ask for transcendental benedictions or even understand the value of transcendental benedictions. So therefore, my dear Lord, please understand his foolish position and just fulfill his desires, like that they are asking. They say that, my dear Lord, yes, he is asking this, but this is not his fault. Whose intelligence is not covered by your Maya? Your Maya, even though you have defeated Maya, and whose ways are not discernible and which is unconquerable. But whose intelligence is not covered by your Maya, my dear Lord? No one is free from Maya. He who worships the feet of great devotees is free from Maya. And this king has not had this opportunity. Of course, um, Anga, this is all, in order to invoke the mercy of the Supreme Lord. It is just like sometimes a father may have to over criticize his son to a third person to invoke his compassion or mercy towards his son. So this is the mood. So sometimes the father, when a third person comes, let's say the son was playing cricket and he broke the glass window of a neighbor, and the neighbor comes to complain. The father in front of the neighbor will beat the child. Okay. Why? So that as soon as the father beats the child in front of the neighbor's anger will subside. It will invoke some compassion and he will say to the father, hey, no, 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 no. Please don't beat him. Huh? Children means they will play and they will break windows. So I didn't come to complain. I just came to tell that don't beat your child. Like that, his heart will, you know, cool down and he will go away. And later the father will embrace the son and pacify him. Right? Otherwise, if the father, if the father was not a responsible father, you know, if he would not chastise the son, then what will happen? The the neighbor will come and chastise the son. Hey, um, how you have raised your son? That's a useless son, like that. Then, that is very painful. So, the priest, even though Nabi is the Yajaman of the sacrifice, but in front of the Supreme Lord, they themselves are criticizing Nabi, but not in an inimical sense, not in an inimical sense, uh, in a way that it would invoke with a desire to invoke the compassion in their hearts towards Nabi, in the Lord's heart towards Nabi. They speak like this. Okay. So then they continue. Yad uha vava tava punar adabra kartar iha samahutas tatrartadiyam Madanam nastad yad deva helanam deva devar hasi samyena sarvan prativodum avidusham. Okay. They say, O performer of many actions, O Lord of Lords, you should tolerate the offense of persons like us who are foolish and full of material desires and who have called you to this sacrifice since you are equal to all. Okay, because you are equal to all, we have called you to this sacrifice. Please forgive us. So he says, asking pardon for their offense of asking a material benediction, they conclude their praise of the Lord. O performer of many activities, this means though you rarely show yourself to Brahma, you have shown yourself to us who are full of desires. You should tolerate the offense of us priests who have called you here because of our foolishness and material desires. Because, O Lord of Lords, you are equal to all. You are equal to all. Okay. To summarize what we have seen till now, okay, the priests say to the Supreme Lord, though we cannot glorify you properly because of our materially contaminated minds, kindly accept our offerings since we are your followers. Though our glorification is incomplete, even such an incomplete glorification can destroy all sins. That is your magnanimity. You are easily satisfied by the simple devotional service, devotional worship of your devotees, but you do not have any use for our elaborate worship, which is devoid of devotion. Then the Lord asks, why don't I have any use for the elaborate worship? This is because your form is the personification of the four Purusharthas and the highest bliss. Therefore, you should satisfy us. You should satisfy us. If I, then the Lord says, if I don't have any use for your worship, then why have I appeared? They say, you have appeared out of your costless mercy to give liberation in the form of realization of your glories. Or perhaps you have appeared like a person curious to see the sacrifice. Then the Lord says, okay, whatever may be the reason for my appearance, please ask for a benediction. In response to that, they say, your appearance in the sacrifice is in itself the greatest benediction, as you are the subject of discussion of the pure-hearted sages and not materially motivated people like us. So the very fact that you appeared in an assembly, mm, in our assembly, mm, uh, where we are materially motivated in itself is a great benediction. But still, we will ask for a benediction. Give us the benediction to constantly chant your names by which we can remember you. We are unable to remember you while stumbling, suffering hunger, falling down, yawning, etc. Though you are capable of bestowing liberation, this foolish king is worshipping you with a desire to have a son like you. He is like a poor man pursuing a wealthy man for empty husks. But this is not his fault. Who in this world is not covered by your Maya except for those who worship the great devotees? This king has not had this opportunity. So please tolerate the offense of foolish and materialistic persons like us. Like this, they have offered prayers, okay, to the Supreme Lord. So now, this last section, we have 5 more verses. The Lord offers benedictions to King Nabi. How many slides are there? 44 to 54. I will quickly complete this, okay? I'll quickly complete this, okay? So Shukadeva Goswami continues the narration. Iti nigadena abhishtuyamano bhagavan animisha rishabha varsha darabi vadita abhivandita charanaha sadayam idam aha. The Supreme Lord, the protector of the Devatas, thus praised by prose, after being addressed by King Nabi, who worshipped the Lord's feet, then spoke with compassion. So the Lord is going to speak now. Okay. The Lord, thus praised by prose addressed by King Nabi, whose feet were worshipped by him, then spoke. The Lord said, Aho bataham rishayo bhavadbir avit avitata girbir varam asulabam abhiyachito yad amushyatmajo maya sadrusho bhuyaditi mamaham eva abhirupah kaivalyad atapi brahmavado na mrisha bhavitum arhati mamaiva hi mukam yad vijadeva kulam. He said, O sages, I have been requested by you with words that must come true. Avitata girbihi. How can a Brahmana's words be false? It has to be true. Okay. I have been requested by you with words that must come true for a boon which is very difficult to achieve. And what is that boon? That King Nabi have a son similar to me. Then the Lord says, only I am similar to myself, since I alone am the Lord. But the words of Brahmana should not be false, since this group of exalted Brahmanas is my mouth. So, you know, I eat through the mouth of the Brahmanas, the Lord says in third canto also. So, your words should not come false. So I will have to fulfill this. Avitata girbihi means by words which cannot be untrue. Abhirupaha means similar. I alone am similar to myself since I am the Lord and no one else is. This group of Brahmanas who are like Devatas amongst the Brahmanas is my mouth. Tata Agnidriye Amsha Kalaya Avatarishyami Atmatulyam Anupalabhamanaha. Atmatulyam Anupalabhamanaha. Not finding anyone equal to me. Tataha therefore. Amsha Kalaya Avatarishyami Agnidriye. I will myself appear in my partial form for King Nabi. Okay. Agnidriya means in the son of Agnidra, which is Nabi. So Shukadeva Goswami says, Iti Nishamayantya Merudevyaha Patim Abhidha Abhidhayantardade Bhagavan. Speaking thus to the husband of Merudevi, who was listening, the Lord disappeared. Last verse. Barhichi tasmin eva Vishnudatta Bhagavan Paramarishyabihi Prasadito Nabehe Priyachikirshaya Tad Avarodhayane Merudevyam Dharman Darshayitu Kamo Vatarashananam Shramananam Rishinam Urdhamantinam Shuklaya Tanuva Avatatara. O King Parikshit, satisfied with the great sages and wanting to please King Nabi and desiring to show the path of the naked performers of austerity who follow scripture and remain celibate, the Lord then appeared with the body of Shuddha Sattva in the womb of Meru Devi, who was situated in the inner chambers of the palace. So, the Lord appeared because he was pleased with Nabi, he was pleased with the priests also, and at the same time, he wanted to show the path of the proper practitioners of, very strict jnana yogis. Okay. So with that desire, he appeared as the son of Nabi and Meru Devi, as Rishabhadev. His body was made of Shuddha Sattva. Okay. So he appeared. So he says, O Parikshit, the Lord appeared in Meru Devi, who remained in the inner chambers. He desired to show the principles of the naked mendicants. So someone may say, yeah, but children and fools are also naked. To qualify that, he says that they are performers of austerities. But someone may say, oh, but atheists also perform austerities. To qualify this further, he says that they are sages, acting with knowledge according to scripture, who do not fall from celibacy. So he came to teach them. The Lord would appear with a body made of Shuddha Sattva. Like that. So, thus ends the commentary on the third chapter of the fifth canto of the Bhagavatam for the pleasure of the devotees in accordance with the previous acharyas. Okay, so now we come to the end of this chapter. So next week we can start with the fourth chapter. But before we wind up, if there are any quick discussion points, comments, questions, anything anyone would like to share, ask, add, we can take it right now. Let's see if there are any things in the chat box. If there is, we will take first and then we will take further questions. Okay, there is one question in the there are two hands up. Oh, there are four hands up. Okay, there is one thing. There is a here. What does it mean superficially performing some yajna in the line of pravargya? So here Srila Prabhupada writes in the translation. However, one cannot always obtain the Supreme Lord through his paraphernalia. Nonetheless, the Lord is affectionate to his devotee. Therefore, when Maharaj Nabi, who was a devotee, worshipped and offered prayers to the Lord with great faith and devotion, and with a pure, uncontaminated mind, superficially performing some yajna in the line of pravargya, the kind Supreme Personality of Godhead, due to his affection for his devotees, appeared before King Nabi. Superficially performing some yajna means that yajna was for a son. Okay, it seems like a kamya karma, a material this thing, only for a superficial purpose, but really the heart of Nabi was pure. Okay, that is what it means. Okay, there are no questions in chat box, but there are some hands up. We will take Keshav Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams. Prabhuji, the
Dandavat.
priests offering prayers, they are not pure devotees, is it, Prabhuji? They are pure devotees or not pure devotees, Prabhuji?
By their own admission, it looks like they also
Hmm.
have some material desires.
Hmm. Prabhuji, I always have this doubt, Prabhuji. These people who are not pure devotees, but uh, when the Lordship appears, the way they glorify, it is all very true words and very deep words, Prabhuji. Like
Yeah,
whatever they glorified is very deep.
yeah.
So I'm just, why is that? Like they know to even we don't. I don't know anything about the Lordship right now, Prabhuji. But these people, because of the austerity or something, they know the Lordship very much, but still they don't look like they don't want to enter into pure devotion. What is that, Prabhuji? I couldn't understand this part, Prabhuji, always.
Yeah, I mean, uh, it is quite possible
Hmm.
that the personal secretary of the prime minister
Hmm.
may know more about the prime minister than someone who is personally related than his own friend, than the prime
Hmm.
minister's own friend.
Hmm.
Okay, so just because this personal secretary of the prime minister knows the prime minister more than his own personal friend does not mean that the prime minister relishes the does not mean that the personal secretary relishes the association of the prime minister more.
Hmm.
Okay, so it is not just knowledge. uh, it
Hmm.
is not just knowledge, but it is affection. It is affection. You know, like for example, there are. My mother does not know. I mean, my mother may not necessarily know what canto of Bhagavatam is also going on. My, and what are the other courses which are going on, what I'm teaching. Okay. She does not know. And I may be spending even less time with her in comparison to the devotees who are attending the sessions online. Uh, so they may know more, they may be spending time more, but it is quite possible that she may have more affection towards me because of being a mother. So it's not just knowing, they may know, but that does not necessarily mean that knowledge is essentially pure devotion.
Hmm. Prabhuji, the same example you said now, Prabhuji. people attending the sessions may not know you personally, but definitely out of the gratitude or whatever about Lordship you're giving, devotees develop some affection to you also, no, Prabhuji. So like that only
Yeah,
I'm asking this question
yeah,
also.
correct.
Mm,
But that will be a particular type of, but there may be some people who
mm,
may be attending the session who will have gratitude. It's not that
mm,
the Artho, Artharthi, Jigyasu, they do not have gratitude. They
mm,
have gratitude, but that gratitude is the gratitude that, you know, a person who is purchasing a commodity has towards a shopkeeper who has given real quality food, quality, uh, you know, material. It is
mm.
not necessarily the kind of gratitude that pure devotees have, who aspire nothing but a relationship, but a personal relationship with the Supreme Lord.
Mm. So for devotees, Prabhuji, due to our conditioning, you always discuss that we may have some desires, but we will go off, Prabhuji, in this stage. So
Yeah.
from where is that we are getting this deep affection? I mean, only purely from from the guru or from the acharyas who are teaching us this, Prabhuji. The difference between us and these priests is that our association with pure devotees or acharyas, Prabhuji,
Yeah,
from them
we have come
only.
in touch with practicing pure devotees,
Mm,
but they may be very exalted, but they may have had the association of very exalted mixed devotees.
mm. It's purely the every any affection or service mind we get here is purely by the association of such devotees only,
Yeah,
Prabhuji.
yeah, yeah.
Not by just knowledge of the Lordship or seeing the
No, no,
Lordship,
no,
even we don't have that.
no, no, no.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Rajchandari Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, I wanted to share something and also wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
Uh, One is we are saying about devotees having material desires.
Mm-hmm.
So there will be practicing pure devotees who may have some material desires, and
Mm-hmm.
there will be mixed devotees who will
Mm-hmm.
definitely have some material desires.
Mm-hmm.
So we are saying that if you have some material desires, rather than going somewhere else to some demigods or to an astrologer,
Mm-hmm.
it's good that you pray, you ask the Supreme Lord only,
Yeah.
um, based on the Akama Sarva Kamava. But Akama Sarva Kamava is for mixed devotees, right, Prabhu?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and for a devotee, also, if he has like practicing pure devotee, if he has some material desire, and then he will also ask the Lord only if that
Yeah.
desire
He will
is
ask
correct.
the Lord. So
Hmm.
depending on his level of realization, his
Hmm.
request could be like this. He may say, "My dear Lord, I know this is not necessarily favorable for my devotional service, but I am completely enamored and I am not able to take my mind off. So can you please do something and fulfill
Hmm.
it?" Like that, he may ask.
Hmm.
Uh, so, or he may think, uh, due to incomplete knowledge, he may think, "My dear Lord, I am 100% convinced that this is very favorable for my devotional service. So please
Hmm.
give it to me." So, so in these cases, this is still not mixed devotion. This
How
is still, huh?
how it is not mixed if he
This
is
is
like saying the thing like
misguided.
this. Yeah.
There is a difference between mixed devotion and misguided pure devotion,
Okay.
where the person is thinking that somehow if I get this, it will help me in my practice of pure devotional service. They may think like that.
Okay.
If I get a big house, or if I get a, you know, very good car or something like that, if I get this job, you know,
Hmm.
they may genuinely think that this is very favorable for my devotional service. The Lord may not necessarily think so.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be correct, but they may think, and that is the stage of uh, what do you call that? In the Anishtita Bhajana Kriya, that stage is called as Vyuda Vikalpa. So in
Mm-hmm.
Vyuda Vikalpa, they are like excessively thinking about, how if I adjust this external thing, somehow my devotional service will come on track like that.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, thinking in this way, they may say, or sometimes they know that this is not something which I should pray for, but they say, Krishna, I know I should not be praying for this, but I'm terribly disturbed. My conditioning is terribly troubling me. So please, this one time, please fulfill it. Like that, people may ask also. That is okay. I mean, at least we are going to Krishna and accepting that I know this is not good. Still better would be, Krishna, can you please somehow remove this desire from my heart? That would be the ideal prayer. Uh, Next, little better. The next level prayer would be, Krishna, I know this is not good for me, but somehow this one time, please fulfill it because it is troubling my heart so much. This is okay. This is also fine.
Mm-hmm.
One step even lower, which would still kind of come within the realm of pure devotion, is uh, Krishna. I am convinced that this is very good for my Krishna consciousness. In the my far-sighted intelligence says that this is very good for my Krishna consciousness later, in future. So please fulfill this desire like that. So all these three, one is the first is ideal prayer. Please remove this desire. Second is, please fulfill it. I am unable to tolerate it. I know it is not good. For now, please fulfill it. Later, you can remove it. And the third is, I am convinced that this is very favorable. Uh, but if someone thinks that, hmm, uh, yeah, I mean, what is wrong? I am worshipping you. In return, you please give me this material benediction. I'm asking you only. I'm not asking a demigod. So I don't think there is anything wrong with that. So if someone thinks that, so if you see the third category of which we put under pure devotional service and this mixed devotion, there's a very thin line. There is a very thin line which separates. Uh, uh, so the pure devotee here, the pure practitioner, the misguided pure practitioner, when kind of explained properly, he may accept that yes, actually this may not be favorable for my pure devotion. But the other person is not even aspiring for pure devotion. He is very satisfied with mixed devotion, and he wants that desire to be fulfilled by worshipping the Supreme Lord.
Okay. So, with all the practicing pure devotees, Krishna will definitely do um, what is good for his devotional service
Yeah,
or progress
yeah,
in Krishna consciousness. Although
yeah,
this one category is convinced that, oh, if I get this desire fulfilled, it is good for my Krishna consciousness.
yeah,
And even when Krishna does not fulfill that desire, for the benefit of this devotee's spiritual progress, his faith will be taken care.
yeah, yeah. His
Okay.
faith will be taken care, but that taking care of that, Krishna will facilitate taking care of
Hmm.
his faith, but
Yeah.
that his response is also important.
Okay.
His response to that facilitation is also important.
Okay. Okay. And one thing, Prabhuji, just related to this, that I wanted to share what helps me personally,
Yeah.
is when you are in some situation and you pray, um, because we have heard, we may not be on that level, but because we have heard that, Krishna knows what is best.
Hmm.
So if you pray that Krishna, this is the situation, and I may think that this is good if
Hmm.
things happen in this way.
Hmm.
But you know what is best and you do what is best. And additionally, if we uh, offer a prayer that, and then when you do what is best for me, Krishna, give me strength to accept that situation, and also um, help me to
Intelligence.
understand how it is
Yeah.
best.
Yeah.
So when we pray to understand how it is best for me, somehow the help comes from devotees or words of Guru, and it becomes easy. So
Yeah.
from that you get
Correct.
strength also and understanding also.
Yeah.
Uh, Struggling,
It's perfect.
practicing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly how Yamuna Mataji also, in her biography, it is mentioned that whenever she
Mhm.
is put in such situations, she prays, Krishna, what is it that you want me to learn from this? Like that. Which means uh, she's convinced that, you know, you have put me in this situation for my own good, but please tell me what is it that you want me to learn from this, like that. Yeah.
And amazingly, we are guide. In somehow, some class you will hear of your guru or your senior god brothers, god sisters, or your friends for that matter. And somehow, it becomes easy. If it is really difficult to accept that the situation is for my good, sometimes it may
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Correct.
Help is
Correct. Correct.
provided. Definitely. Yeah. Thank you,
Yes.
Prabhu.
Thank you, Mother. Very wonderful reflection. Okay, Mother Gail.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yeah, interestingly, my question was right in line with this discussion.
Uh,
And my question was, okay, you mentioned ideal response, then second best, third best, right?
uh-huh.
So my question is, what if that devotee who had been having pure faith, right?
Uh-huh. Hmm.
But he has serious material attachment. And it's so while his faith is pure, uh,
Hmm.
Krishna, his karma was absolved. It is in Krishna's hands now. Krishna is not, he's not under the law of karma.
Hmm.
But so what happens when the devotee decides, you know, I I don't even care. I just want what I want. Whether it's good for my devotional service or not, I can't, I can't bear to be without this thing that I need.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at that point, right, where he says, you know, even at the expense of my
Krishna consciousness.
devotion, yeah,
Yeah.
my Krishna consciousness, I need this thing. At that point, is he now under the law of karma again?
Well, I think we should understand this situation of the devotee to be exactly like the situation of a drug addict who is kind of in the firm grips of that addiction at the, you know, at that
Yeah,
particular.
like
So,
withdrawal stage, like he's been going through withdrawal.
yeah.
They say,
So, so under such circumstances, because one should understand that these phases are temporary. Yeah, so that person will, but as soon as that satisfaction comes, just like when hunger is very peak, as soon as you eat
mhm,
food, it becomes assuaged, at least temporarily.
mhm,
At which point you can think little clearly. Uh,
mhm,
So so when that person is kind of tormented by that desire, unable to this thing, he knows that it is not good for his Krishna consciousness. When
mhm.
that when that thing becomes assuaged, at least temporarily, when he is in good intelligence, at that he should capitalize on that time to offer proper prayers and seek proper help. Do you
Yeah,
understand
but
what
is
I'm trying
that,
to?
well, yeah, but I mean to say, he might be so bewildered by his attachments that he can't even do that. He's just so co-opted by his attachment that he can't even do that.
Yeah, I mean, in such cases, there will be at least some intermittent few seconds when when that grip is little bit loosened. At that time, he should at least sincerely cry
Well,
out.
yeah, Yeah, that's ideal. But let's say the person has become derailed.
Uh-huh.
What happens to him?
Smaran Mukundangri Upaguhanam Punar Vihatu Michen Rasagraho Jana. That is what Krishna promises. He says that somehow he will remind him of his good days in Krishna consciousness and the times when he had some pleasant experiences in Krishna consciousness. He will time and again kind of uh, stimulate those remembrances and slowly try to drag him back. Krishna will do that.
Okay, so even if that devotee feels like I changed my mind, I don't want to pursue this Krishna consciousness anymore at the expense of my material attachment, still Krishna will not release him.
Yeah, so Krishna will go inside his heart and check out, has he become unconvinced of bhakti, or is it because of his inability to give up his deep material attachments? Krishna will see that. If he says out of helplessness, hopelessness, he is giving up devotion, not because he has lost faith in devotion, but because he has lost faith in himself overcoming the struggle. When he sees that, then Krishna says, okay, now I will do something.
Okay, but if he has lost faith in devotion, does
There is a
he
difference
come
between
on?
losing faith and losing hope.
Yeah, but if he has lost faith, actually,
Losing faith means, oh, this bhakti is useless. I don't think it works. That is losing faith. Uh,
yeah, and at that
losing,
time, does he
yeah,
come under the law of karma
yeah. If he has really
again?
lost faith due to committing offenses, then he comes under the realm of karma.
Okay, otherwise, Krishna, you're saying, will dredge up some memory for him
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that
yeah.
he gains hope.
Yes, yes.
Okay, Prabhu, Dvija Bandhu, I know it's not an actual Brahmin, but can you just break down these two words for me? Dvija Bandhu.
Dvija
Dvija
means
means?
second born, twice born, you know. Technically speaking, it can refer to the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, or Vaishyas because all three of them are twice born. But generally, it refers to Brahmanas. Uh, Dvija Bandhu means friend of a Brahmana, which is a euphemistic way of telling a fallen Brahmana.
Oh, it's like the friend of a Dvija.
Yeah, yeah. Friend of a
And,
Dvija means
and
he is not really a Dvija,
actually,
but
yeah,
yeah, he's not actually a Dvija.
more by association,
Yeah, he's just like a namesake Dvija,
a
like that.
namesake,
Yeah,
Dvija. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. I am sorry there are a few more questions, but there is no time, so we will have to end here. We will take these questions on Monday. Thank you all very much for your patient listening and your enthusiastic participation. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.